So are you ready to start feeling better and get to the root cause of your health problem, or I should say health problems? You're tired of going from one doctor to the next doctor to the next doctor, really without an explanation of what's wrong with you or why you feel the way you do. Or maybe you're working with a functional medicine doctor and you're just a bit disappointed, right? There doesn't seem to be a logical game plan that's been laid out as far as treatment goes, or maybe there was no testing done. Well, if any of this resonates with you, and I want you to know that you're finally in the right place. My name is Dr. Hagmeyer, and I'm the clinic director here at drhagmeyer.com, where we really work with patients all over the world. We have patients in over 25 different countries around the world that we help, and we help them find answers, and we help them overcome chronic health problems. And we do it with natural medicine, functional medicine. Now, if you or a loved one is watching this video and you're struggling with thyroid problems, or hormone problems, or issues with histamine intolerance, or you've got all kinds of gut issues that just aren't improving, and you're struggling with brain fog and insomnia or weight gain, or maybe you have a leaky gut, or maybe you have bacterial overgrowth, and you're feeling discouraged, one step forward, three steps back kind of thing, I want you to understand something. There are several reasons that I believe are holding you back from getting better. And number one is if you're taking medications, you can't fix a chronic health problem with more and more and more medications. It just doesn't matter if you go to 5 doctors or you go to 15 different doctors. If all they do is prescribe you medication for your chronic health problem and they never address the root cause, they don't look at diet, they don't focus on healing, they don't address the stress component. I hate to say this and sound like the guy who says the glass is always half empty, but the fact of the matter is you're never going to get better, right? Medications are not going to make you a healthier, happier person that heals faster and repairs. And I don't think I'm telling you something that you already don't know, right? Deep down, you probably know quite well that taking more medications isn't going to be the answer to making you healthier. But what will happen is it will snowball and it will cause even more problems down the road. And that's unfortunately, that's the consequence of what happens when you decide to treat symptoms rather than address the root cause. You see, chronic health problems, they require a different set of tools for the proper treatment. They also require a different kind of testing and a different approach overall, right? If you have a chronic health problem, you have many different layers, meaning that there's no one singular reason that you feel like crap. Instead, you have multiple systems of the body that, much like a spider web, these are all interwoven, they're all interconnected, they're all tangled together. And trying to untangle that, that's what I call the big picture approach. But you might be thinking, well, Dr. Hagmeyer, I'm working with a functional medicine doctor, and I've seen several in the past, and they too haven't been able to help me. Well, hang on, because I'm going to explain why I think that happens as well, why functional medicine doctors also miss the mark. So in the last 20 years that I've been in practice, 24 years almost, if you want to get your life back, you have to address these different connections. And in functional medicine, you also need to correct these connections or these layers. You need to correct them in the right order for that particular person. These layers or connections might be things like the HP axis, adrenal stress dysregulation. It might be things going on in your gut microbiome. It might be a high chronic viral load. It might be immune system dysregulation or food allergies. It might be oxidative stress and inflammation. It might be the consequence of emotional trauma or nutritional imbalances, nutritional deficiencies. It could be hormones. It could be biotoxins created by mold toxins. Fact of the matter is you could have multiple things happening simultaneously, and this is why it is critically important to really, again, look at this bigger picture. So like I said, whether you're working with traditional medical doctors or functional medicine practitioners, functional medicine doctors, there's a reason that you are struggling with issues related to fatigue and weight gain and migraines and brain fog and bloating and constipation and reactions to food. You know why most people who suffer with chronic health problems, why they continue to suffer year after year after year, and they get worse? Well, there's actually 3 main reasons or problems that I will tell you that I see that when I sit down to review cases, complex chronic cases, that I see over and over. The first reason has to do with the proper evaluation of the case, right? Do you know how many times over the last 20 plus years that I've reviewed a patient's records and I'm shocked, I'm blown away that the doctor didn't run certain tests based on the patient's symptoms and the patient's concerns. And I see traditional doctors missing things, and I see functional medicine doctors missing things because they didn't properly evaluate the case. Being a good doctor, whether it be a traditional trained doctor or a functional medicine doctor, First and foremost, it requires you to be a good detective. Sometimes there's a lot of layers that we need to dig through in order to get to the root cause. Unfortunately, these days, traditional medicine is too quick to prescribe pills that turn you into a zombie. And functional medicine doctors, they're guilty too, because they're very quick to just really throw a patient on a shopping bag and a shopping list of different supplements. The second reason most patients with chronic health problems, they never get better, really comes down to testing, which again is number 2. But if you're not a good detective and you didn't do a thorough review of the patient's health timeline, you're not going to order the correct testing. And so the problem is never going to get corrected. So again, number 2 is the doctor didn't run the correct testing, or he or she didn't interpret the testing correctly. Again, they were too quick to put you on medications or too quick to put you on supplements without running the right tests. Nowadays, one of the things I'm going to tell you I see more and more is that there's more doctors calling themselves functional medicine practitioners, and they have 0 training, and they have 0 certification, and they have little to no experience in working with people with chronic problems. This hurts the patient. It hurts the reputation of the doctors who actually have hundreds and hundreds of hours in training in functional medicine, who've spent lots of money, time away from their families, getting certified and going through the rigors of that. Now, let me tell you a quick story. Earlier this week, I had a lady reach out to me, to my office, and she was absolutely in tears. She's struggling with all kinds of gastrointestinal issues, typically things like bloating, constipation, brain fog, her stomach hurts all the time. She's losing weight, and she's reacting to everything she puts on the end of a fork. In her words, she went to a natural medicine practitioner who charged her $4,000 to counsel her and work with her over a period of time to change her diet. She had no testing done, and after 6 months, she got worse. And she then went to a naturopath. And the naturopath, based on her symptoms, he suspected that she had a small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. This is a bacteria in the small intestines. So she spent another $6,000 for another 6 months of treatment. And so on one flip side of the coin here, at least we have a doctor who actually ran tests for SIBO. In fact, she did test positive for that. And at the end of her treatment plan, though, she was still losing weight. She was still having brain fog. She was still reacting to foods. And she did admit that she was about 10 to 50% better. But here's the problem. The naturopath stopped with testing SIBO. He didn't look at the big picture, which most likely caused him to miss many things. For one, he never stopped and said, what are the things that are causing this bacterial overgrowth to develop in the first place? Why does it keep coming back? So she went to another doctor who now diagnosed her with thyroid disease. Well, actually, it turned out that she had Hashimoto's disease. And this is an autoimmune disorder where the immune system basically destroys the thyroid gland, leaving you in a permanently hypothyroid state. But the point of me telling you this story is that this lady went to 3 different experts who all looked at just one piece of the puzzle rather than looking at how all of these problems are really connected and interwoven, like that spider web, that big picture that we were talking about. Again, no one was looking at the big picture from the very start and how her symptoms were really all tied together. And remember what I said, if you have a chronic health problem, this is what's happening most likely to you or a loved one. There's no one reason why you feel the way you do. So after spending $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, she's now calling me. She's desperate for help. And unfortunately, she can't afford testing or treatment at this point in time. So the point being here is that it can be very, very expensive if you don't work with the right person from the very start. And unfortunately, I'm seeing this more and more and more often with patients that are calling our office. So again, work with a functional medicine doctor who will look at all the pieces of this puzzle the first time around. But again, that's just one example. I hear stories like this every single day. I'll give you another quick example, and this one actually is, could be happening to you, very, very common. Let's pretend you or a loved one have fatigue. And there can be many reasons for fatigue. It's a very general complaint. Could be a B12 deficiency or B6 deficiency. Could be an iron deficiency. Could be a thyroid issue related to maybe low T3 or Hashimoto's. Could be prediabetes or insulin resistance. It could be bacteria in the gut. It could be a problem in the liver. It could be a heavy menstrual cycle. It could be low testosterone. Point is, if the doctor isn't looking at your symptoms and what the common puzzle pieces are, you're going to be on a lot of unnecessary supplements, or you're going to be on a lot of unnecessary medications. So if you never get the proper review, you never get the proper testing, how can that doctor ever provide you with answers as to why your body is shutting down and why your body's failing you? And the answer is they can't. You can have the nicest, most empathetic, best bedside doctor in the entire world. But if they don't look at the right testing or order the right testing, and and they don't know where your problem's coming from, they can't help you. So if you want to get well, number one is you have to have the proper review. Number two is you have to have the proper testing, interpretation, and you have to have a doctor with experience in chronic health issues. And number three, you need the proper treatment. Testing equals data, but without proper review, you can't get testing that's personal to you. And then again, that testing can't drive your treatment plan that's supposed to help you, right? We don't use symptoms as our treatment. So that's my equation. That's my 20 plus years of experience, my secret sauce, if you will, to helping patients who have been to 8, 9, 10 different doctors, whether it be traditional or functional. Now, if what I just said has you saying to yourself, well, wow, for the first time, this doctor gets it, and you want to have me consider your case, the next step for us is to just set up a quick, brief 15-minute discovery call. I do this absolutely free for prospective patients. I'm not going to answer questions on what you should eat or what kinds of testing you need or what kind of supplements you should be taking for XYZ symptoms, or if you should even stop taking certain medications. I'm going to listen what you have to say. I'm going to determine if my program can help you. The only reason I do this free 15-minute discovery call is to see if we're a good fit and for one another, right? Because we have to work together. But to see also if we have good connection, good chemistry. And most importantly, if your problem is something that I have experience with and something that I truly and honestly believe that I can help you with. Now, I would love to physically accept every single patient who wants and needs my big picture approach. I wish I could. There's not enough hours in the day to work with everybody. But each month I take on 10 to 12 new patients. And since my practice is virtual and you don't know me, this is why I offer a free 15-minute discovery call, right? Keep in mind, I can't solve your problems in a 15-minute call, but I can identify if I'm a good fit for your case or if I'm not the right doctor for you. Now, with all that being said, if you want to set up a free 15-minute discovery call to see if we can be good partners, the next step is really just to click on the calendar below that shows my appointment availability. Now, the other thing is this, is if you are serious about setting up this call, once you select your date and time, I'm going to ask that you fill out a very short health questionnaire, and there's about, 7, 8, 9 questions. Like, what's your biggest health concerns or biggest challenges? What have you done? What kind of testing have you done? What do you think might be wrong with you? Or why do you think maybe previous doctors have failed you? Now, be honest and truthful as you go through this, because for the fact of the matter is this, is if and when we get on the phone, I'm already familiar with your top concerns, the kinds of help that you're looking for, and if the services that I offer meet up and are in line with your needs and expectations. Okay, so once you submit that questionnaire, I'll review it, and if I don't feel like I can help you, my staff will cancel your appointment. I don't want to waste your time on the phone if I don't think my program is a good fit for you. So if I'm not a good fit, that's why your appointment was canceled. Okay, don't take it personal. I know sometimes people take it personal. I just don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. All right, so now with that being said, if you look below, you can see my availability for these calls.